Hi guys. Alright, so today I'm going to talk about the worst books that I read in 2017. Since I am talking about the worst books in 2017, I will, go with the obligatory disclaimer and say that if any of you guys really love these books, that's cool. This is just my personal experience and my personal opinion about them, and I'm in no way trying to attack the authors or anybody else's opinion. This is just me and how I feel, and we're all allowed to have our opinions, and that's okay. I have 6 of them, and all of them are YA except for one. So I guess I'll talk about the adult nonfiction one first. First one is How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. This book wasn't terrible, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but I guess that's not fair to say because she wrote it for herself and not for me to read. In any case, this is a nonfiction book, and I guess my understanding of what it was supposed to be about was more like kind of like a feminist manifesto about what it's like to grow up and be a woman. And to some degree it is, but it reads more like a personal autobiography about her life growing up poor in England in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and a little bit of now. There were some things that I really did like about it. For instance, she talks about what it's like when you're a woman and you say, "Oh, I have nothing to wear." And her whole explanation of that is really good, but a lot of the things that she had to say, I sort of disagreed with. Caitlin Moran describes herself as a strident feminist, and I also describe myself as a strident feminist, and I can get behind that totally. But there's some contradictions to what I think that means inside this book, and there's a lot of references she makes to, like, British culture, I guess, before I was born that I couldn't personally relate to, and I think I just didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't really for me. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I guess I just wouldn't really recommend it. Moving on to the YA books, I have Wicked Like Wildfire by Lana Popovic. And this book is really pretty. It's got a really pretty cover, and it's a witchy kind of story, which pretty much sucked me in from the beginning. Some good points about it. It takes place in Montenegro, which is in sort of Eastern Europe, and I think it got pitched to me as in a similar to Practical Magic story, which is one of my favorite movies and books, and the characters to me kind of fell flat. It was interesting because it's like about a mother and her daughters and the mother's sister and their like mysterious clan of witches, kind of, but it's sort of a secret, and there's a bit of romance in it, and it wasn't bad. There is a sequel coming out this year, and I'm considering reading it, but this book ended on a cliffhanger, and after finishing it, I still sort of felt like I didn't really care. It wasn't strong enough. The characters weren't believable enough, and there was definitely some kind of tropes that were happening a la YA book in it. It's just not a strong recommend for me. It wasn't terrible, but I don't strongly recommend it. Yeah, so no. The next one I read for Booktubathon this year that's hosted by Ariel Bissett, and I was really excited about it, and that is the Juniper Lemon's Happiness Index. And I don't know what to say. this book was kind of boring. I kind of feel bad for saying that because I know it's the author's first, it's her debut novel. And again, this book wasn't terrible. It just wasn't enough for me. It's about a girl and she's going through grief in her life because her sister has passed away. And it says that in the description of the book. I'm not giving anything away. And she finds all these notes and letters talking about kind of like her sister's secret life that no one knew about. And it just didn't really seem like a very original idea. It's kind of like Pretty Little Liars and P.S. I Love You, sort of. And it just not a lot of stuff happened. And I'm okay with that usually. I'm okay with like a slow burn with a lot of emotional content, but it just fell flat for me. It wasn't enough. But it was fun picking up a book that I didn't know anything about and reading it with tons of people at once. That was really fun, but I didn't really like it so much. So the next one is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. And this book had a ton of hype attached to it. Everyone was so excited about it. And it is a really cute book. It was really cute. But again, I think maybe this just isn't a genre for me. One of the good points about this book that I did like, there's actually a picture of the scene on the back where Dimple throws her coffee at Rishi. And it's funny. It's a really funny written part of the book that I did like. But again, as YAs tend to go for me, there was a lot of tropes. Well, there were some tropes in it that I just seemed kind of like, okay, I guess this is happening, like insta-love. And it has these bullies in it that are just these like one-dimensional characters that are just kind of bullies just for the sake of their being bullies. And like relationship drama that seemed really blown out of the water and not realistic. And as much as I really wanted to like this book, it wasn't believable enough for me. And I know that, that's maybe not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a cute, young romance, and it was okay, but I didn't love it. It wasn't for me. I actually have no idea why I chose to read this. This is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. And this book is something like 470-ish pages. And it even has bonus content, which I did not read. And it absolutely could have been 200 pages. And I would have maybe liked it a little bit better. This book follows a girl who is living that kind of Groundhog Day situation where you wake up and the next day you repeat the same day over and over again. Now, she repeats the same day like 7 times. And the girl is a really kind of annoying, one-dimensional character who has terrible friends, and her friends are so mean to her and to other people, including the friend group. They're all mean and so rude to each other, and it's not even in like a Mean Girls kind of way where it's funny. It's not funny. It's terrible, and there's a lot of bullying that goes on. Again, with the reoccurring tropes of like the, artsy, not cool guy who is actually sort of Prince Charming in the end. And I wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be like something you take away from. I like Groundhog Day and stories where the day reoccurs over and over again. And I had to live the same day over and over again with the same annoying, like really insecure teenagers that were terrible to each other. And I don't know why I did this to myself. It's not good. I didn't get anything out of it. it's one of the worst books I read in 2017, hands down for sure. So the last book I'm going to talk about, it seems that my opinion of this book is a very unpopular opinion. I was so excited to read this book because there was so much hype surrounding it, and everyone seems to love it, and so many booktubers that I really trust their opinion said they really like this book, and that is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. Now, again, I know everyone seems to love this book. I think I'm just the weirdo that thought it was terrible. What am I? I'm even nervous to like say what I didn't like about it because so many people liked it. I think that obviously, you know, it is a cutesy young romance, and it was cool that it was set in Paris and there was like a bit of historical information about the city and, you know, where the rivers are and the church and stuff, and like that was cool. But kind of similar to the last one I talked about, this girl and her friends have like terrible relationships, and like terrible, like, and it seemed, I think what bothered me the most was that it seemed to pass off the like rude, horrible, backstabbing, slut-shaming, like presumptuous behavior that they had towards each other as totally normal, all over one guy. Like in all of Paris in this school, there's only one guy for all of you guys who didn't even seem that interesting or cute, and no one blamed him for having all these girls, you know, him being involved in all these girls' lives. They all blame each other, and nobody blames Etienne St. Clair for being kind of a jerk. I didn't think this was adorable. I thought it was sad and pathetic and recycled, and I was really let down because everyone, you know, made me believe it was like a really nice, like fluffy, like adorable romance, and I didn't think it was adorable at all. I thought it was really bad, like really bad. And I think after this, I'm just going to be very selective about what YA I do read in the future. I'm not giving up on it totally. I'm just gonna be real selective about the books that I choose. So yes. So there you have it. That's my list of the worst books I read in 2017. If you like listening to me talk about books and stuff, please subscribe or follow me on Instagram or Goodreads, which are linked down below, and I'll see you next time.